Joining us now from London in the United Kingdom is Professor Claudine Moore. She is the Managing Director and Founder, Moore Media, and she is into international public relations. Thank you, Claudine, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me.
It's interesting that you are joining us from London when, you know, all eyes are on the US right now, asking questions as to what is happening in the US right now. We're seeing all kinds of videos, we're seeing texts, we're seeing, tweets coming out from the US, and people are really wondering what exactly is going on? What's the mood? What's the atmosphere? And why did you have to go to London when it's, D-Day?
I know. Why did I come to London when it's D-Day? Well, that's a good question. Well, just to backtrack, I was, as you know, I was born and raised in the UK, and I moved to America, just 15 years plus ago. I became a US citizen, so I'm a dual citizen, US and UK. I became a US citizen to vote for Barack Obama in 2008. So that's when I became, sort of vested and involved in the, quote unquote, democratic process in the US. So subsequently, as an observer and as somebody who's now been involved as a voter in America, I can honestly tell you I've never seen anything like it in America right now. It's volatile. It feels dangerous. It doesn't feel safe. I personally didn't want to be there for D-Day. Today is D-Day, and I made a conscious decision several months ago, actually. Several months ago, I began thinking about it, but this decision was made several weeks ago that for D-Day, I just didn't want to be there. I live in New York City, just didn't feel safe. And when I speak to friends and family who are still back in the US, they're telling me about stores being boarded up. People sort of, stockpiling food because of the anticipation of unrest that they think is going to happen, regardless of the way that the election goes. So I just personally didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel that safe.
But isn't that happening right now? Because I have had videos sent to me from my friends in New York. I have from my friends in Atlanta, videos of Trump supporters and Democrats, Biden supporters clashing. And this is something that you would normally not see in the US. You would see things like that in other parts of the world, especially Africa. But it's intriguing to see that America, which is the poster child for democracy, free, fair, and credible elections, seems to, be hitting rock bottom as we speak. And today, being the day that determines who wins, there are a lot of people who are also thinking maybe then it might just end in some form of riots or more clashes as the day, continues to unfold. What do you think about this?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. It is shocking to see the United States of America at this point, at the point where democracy feels in the balance, at the point where we're questioning whether we're going to have free, fair, and credible elections in America. Recently, I saw a headline, maybe a couple of days ago, and the headline said, international or global observers are concerned about violence after the US election. That is not a headline I think we've ever seen, or certainly not in my lifetime, that I've seen, or not for generations, certainly. And you're right, it's the headlines that you're used to seeing for elections that happen in Africa or in South America or in certain parts of Asia. You're not used to seeing those headlines for America, but they're very real headlines. There is a strong possibility of unrest regardless who wins. People are anxious. People are also really, I've never seen an election in America where people are talking about their mental health as part of how they're feeling about the election. Anxiety is at an all-time high. I have friends of mine who have said, I'm just not going to watch the news in that day. I just feel like my mental health is in the balance. Wow. And so when you hear people saying things like that, this is alarming. It's shocking. And I think regardless of whether you're voting Democrat or Republican, I think everybody should vote their values. I'm a big firm believer of that. You know, vote your values, and based on your values, that's who you should vote for. And if, you know, if our current president is the one that wins legitimately, then that should be accepted if he legitimately wins. But there are Biden supporters and other factions who will not take that. And conversely, if Biden wins, there are a lot of Trump supporters who will not accept that either. And I think it's important to think about who those Trump supporters are, who won't accept that. And also, a lot of them are armed. America has, you know, America has the rule in many of their states of the right to bear arms. And so violence is a real possibility. And I'm glad that I'm not there. I'm glad that I participated, but I'm glad that I'm not there to be a part of it because, like I said, it didn't feel safe, and I didn't want to be there.
Finally, before I let you go, how do you think the world perceives America right now? Again, back to my former question, because, you know, you're a PR executive, and, you know, you're an expert in these kind of things. The world somewhat, I mean, different parts of the world have how they perceive America, but, you know, in the US, we always turn to America, you know, when we are trying to point to great things in terms of democracy. But right now, how do you think this whole election, how it's playing out, is going to rub off on the American, you know, what should I say, the American
image of America
name,
yeah,
around the world?
Yeah, I think it's going to leave a lot of questions. I think there's no doubt about it. Whether you are to the right or to the left of the political spectrum, I think there's no question that what has happened and what is happening, and just the headlines and the news cycles, it's leaving a stain, and it's leaving questions, and it's leaving chaos. And where you have chaos and you have misinformation, or you don't have information that you can trust, it yields distrust. And it creates a very sort of poor reflection on America, because America, to your point at the very beginning, Mimi, is really seen as the poster child of democracy. And to then see that the great United States of America is going through this, it leads to question what can happen in other parts of the world if this can happen in the great United States of America. If you have citizens in America who are feeling anxious, whose mental health is being affected, who are feeling unsafe. These are all things you never expected to happen in the great United States of America, but they're very real. And, you know, I just hope, and my final comments are that I just hope that there is a fair, credible election. I hope that the president who is legitimately voted by the people of America, whoever that is the winner, and we can sort of, you know, see who that is, and sort of, you know, establish, you know, sort of anchor ourselves accordingly. Because wherever you sit, you have to also think about how you anchor yourself within this new administration, regardless of where it goes.
Thank you very much. Claudine Moore is a professor at NYU. She's also the managing director and founder, Moore Media. Thank you very much for talking with us, Claudine. Stay safe. Hopefully we'll get to find out who turns out the winner for today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, Mimi. Thank you.
Thank you.